Hello and welcome to today's Up to Thrive Manage Your Mind Mindful Moment.
Welcome to Up to Thrive, your go-to podcast for women's wellness in midlife, designed to educate, support, and inspire you to live your very best life. And now your host, Dr. Karina Sims.
Recently for her birthday, one of my friend's daughters bought the two of them tickets to see Love Actually in concert at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. I had never even heard of this before, and in case you haven't either, it's actually the movie playing on a movie screen, but also with a live symphony playing the soundtrack as the movie's playing. Well, within a week of the show, one of our close girlfriends who was going to be in Adelaide for work decided she wanted to go too, so she got tickets for herself and one of her Adelaide girlfriends. And then less than a week before the show, I realized I had nothing on and that I would really like to go. So I got a ticket. And then within a few days, another girlfriend decided to come as well. And somehow we all managed to get tickets in the same row. And even though we should have been spaced a bit apart given our ticket number, somehow when we got there, we all managed to be sitting together. It was really fun. Now, I have watched Love Actually multiple times, but I hadn't watched it for years, so it was really fun to remember bits and pieces as it unfolded. I can't imagine there would be many listeners who haven't seen it before, but just in case, it's a weaving of stories of all these different people and snapshots of their love relationships, whether it's with family or partners or friends, and the message is that love can be messy and imperfect, but it's everywhere if you pay attention. It was such a special experience, all of us finding our way there separately from our little country town cocoon where we're so close and life is so easy. We all made our way to the city separately and then met up to share this experience together. And it did not disappoint. From the very start of the movie, when they show the Universal logo and the Universal Studios music plays, the symphony actually does that bit, and it is very impressive. It gives you goosebumps, and you just know right from the start you're in for a real treat. So I don't know about you, but as I've gotten older, I do find that it's not uncommon to get a little bit teary during movies. And not just that thing that happens when you're in the thick of menopause and you're crying and you have no idea why. No, this is more of a softening with age. I think at this point in life, we've all just lived so much life with its ups and downs and its beauty and heartache that maybe we can just identify so much easier as we age. So yes, there were several moments during the show that I was quite teary, and I've even shed a couple of tears after the show reflecting on the thoughts that I had as I watched it. Things that hit me in a little bit of a different way than they would have 22 years ago when it was released. There was one moment in particular when that Dido song, Life for Rent, came on. You may remember the one. If my life is for rent and I don't learn to buy, I deserve nothing more than I get because nothing I have is truly mine. That song came on, and it took me right back to a very specific moment in time. You know, one of those memories when you can see the color of the paint on the wall and the pattern in the linoleum on the floor, though it's a house you only lived in for a short period of time, and it was over 20 years ago. It's so interesting how memories work, because this memory would have been from a short while, probably about 2 years before that song was even released. But it was so strongly linked to this particular memory. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense, because it really reflected an entire period of my life. The memory was of me standing in the kitchen of this little rental I shared with my ex-husband, and I was absolutely filled with excruciating grief and sadness and overwhelming fear that my marriage was disintegrating, that the life that I thought I was creating was not the life I was going to get, and that there was nothing that I could do about it. This was a time in my life where I was still taking a lot of responsibility for the actions of others, when I thought there was nothing that couldn't be overcome or worked out if I just worked hard enough. That was before I learned the powerful life lesson that some things were never about us to begin with. That there are some things we have absolutely no control over, no matter who we are, what we do, how we look, what we say, and that the things other people do and say, even though we may be the ones feeling betrayed or mistreated, often have nothing to do with us. That those choices they make are more about them and who they are and what's going on for them. And sometimes we need to let go and let them work it out for themselves, even though that means not having the life you wanted in the way you wanted it to be. So this memory came and went during the film as we went on this little roller coaster of emotion through each of the characters' stories. And then there was an intermission. During the intermission, we were chatting amongst ourselves, and one of the girls quietly shared with me the story of a friend who she had just caught up with earlier that day. This friend was going through a devastating breakup after many years of marriage. She described a marriage that had once been loving and beautiful, but had become abusive and ugly, unfortunately through a drug addiction. I listened to this woman's story and could feel the pain. My heart hurt for her, and it reminded me of that memory I had just had and how I've been down there in that pit of despair, angry and heartbroken because I wasn't getting the life that I had planned, the life I thought that I wanted. The overwhelming fear of the unknown, what was going to happen to me, to my children. I eventually became a single mother with a toddler and one on the way, living in a foreign country, trying to get through medical school completely on my own. Both of my parents were deceased. I had absolutely no one to help me find my way. It was a terrifying time. And as I was having those memories and those thoughts, just as quickly, my thoughts turned right back around and brought me to the present moment. And I was filled with this peace and hope for this woman. One of those moments, like when something happens in the life of your child and they think it's the end of the world, but you can see what lies ahead for them, that it's all going to be okay. And you reassure them with this confident knowing. In my mind's eye, I was seeing this beautiful life that I've created now, a life I would not have had if I had not gone through what I've gone through. I'm out the other side. I've built that career. I've found love again. I found my tribe, beautiful girlfriends who love and support me and who I get to love and support. I shared this with my friend for her friend. I was thinking, it looks cloudy and gray right now, but the rainbow will come. The clouds will part, the flowers will bloom, and the sun will shine again. I'm living proof. I've learned that life ebbs and flows, that the humans are humans and they'll do human things. To do my best to take responsibility for what is mine and leave what is theirs with them, with love. I've learned not to hang on too tight, to try to keep my eyes open to see when it's time to let go and carry on. The joy and the sadness, the pleasure and the pain, it's all part of it. Through all of it for me, music has been a special part of helping me grieve, helping me process things. And I remember a few years ago after sharing a meal with friends, we were listening to some music and reminiscing, and the question was asked, what is your favorite song? So we went around the table, everyone sharing what their favorite song was. Now, I have a lot of favorite songs, so picking an all-time favorite seemed a bit hard, and I really had to think about it. Eventually, though, I did narrow it down. It's an old Garth Brooks song that's been around for many years, and I always thought it was a nice song, but I wouldn't have said it was my favorite in my 20s or my 30s. But into my 40s, I think that's when I fully appreciated the beauty and the truth in it. The song is called The Dance, and the first verse goes like this. Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above, for a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know. The way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. For me, this song is about so much more than just lost love. It reminds me not to get so caught up in the disappointments in life that you don't fully embrace the love and the beauty and the joy that is all around you. To me, it reminds me not to overthink things. Know when to practice acceptance. Don't be so focused on white-knuckling and trying to force something that you don't even see it wasn't the best thing for you anyway. Friends, today I hope you're enjoying and fully embracing the joy of that dance, whatever that dance represents for you. And this messy, imperfect life full of love. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy, safe, and prosperous New Year. I hope you've enjoyed this Manage Your Mind mindful moment. And if you have, and you can think of someone else who might enjoy it, please pass it on. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast to make it more visible to those who might get something out of it too. Have a great week, everyone. And until then, I hope you opt to thrive.
The Opt to Thrive podcast is designed for information purposes only and is not engaged in the giving of medical advice. The information provided on the podcast should not be used for diagnosing or treating a health problem or disease. In no way should the information provided by Opt to Thrive be considered medical advice, and at all times the advice of a medical professional should supersede recommendations from Opt to Thrive. If you have or suspect you may have a health problem, you should consult your healthcare provider. The views expressed in this podcast are purely that of Dr. Sims and do not in any way reflect those of the institutions she contracts her medical services to.
Thank you for listening to Opt to Thrive. If you've enjoyed listening, please rate and share the podcast. You can visit our website at opttothrive.com and leave a comment for any subjects you would like to hear more about.